is Stacy from Stacy's Bookcase. I am going to participate in another reading-a-thon. Reading-a-thon, whatever. I wasn't planning on doing that. I didn't really have any plans for December besides just read some books, but I was perusing the YouTube and I found a readathon that I thought was really interesting. It's the Clear Your Shit Readathon, hosted by Mouse Reads and L Art. The point is to get rid of, or not get rid of, but clear out some of your TBR so that you can make room for books in the new year. And I definitely need this. Not necessarily because I plan on getting a bunch of books next year. I never plan on getting a bunch of books, but it happens. But I have no room for the books that I already own. So I'm now stacking them on the floor, which is bad, and I don't like doing that. I have too many books that I haven't read, basically. Plus, I really like how it's set up. It's set up like role-playing, like a D&D campaign. So each prompt is presented as a quest, and even though the prompts themselves are sort of just what you would find in any other readathon, like read the shortest book on your shelf or read a book that is got a blue cover or something, it's presented in such an interesting way. It makes it so much more interesting. The thing about this readathon is that it's technically a 2-month readathon. It started in November and it's going from November to December. It is currently the end of November, so I'm behind on it. So I don't anticipate that I'll read all of these books in December because that would be a lot. I'd be really proud, but I know myself. We'll see what I can get through. I have doubled up on some of these prompts, on these quests. Some of the books I'm counting towards multiple quests just to make this a little bit easier on myself. And then I have a few books that I've started already that I've been reading prior to discovering this readathon that I'm still counting. For this readathon, since it's like a campaign, you get to create your character. So my character's name is Soleil because that's the name I pick for all of my game characters. For any game that I play, I pick that name. And then you pick a weakness or a fatal flaw, and it's based off of your book buying habits. So there are 4 categories, and the one that I chose, which fits so perfectly, is breaks book buying bans. Yes, I do that all the time. I feel like every time I buy books, I say, okay, I'm not gonna buy any books for a couple of months or for the rest of the year, and then a week later I'm picking up more books. Yes, I mean it when I say it, but then the next day it doesn't mean as much to me. So that's my flaw. And then for my strengths, or one strength, I'm the chonker conqueror. So I really like big books. I love how they look. I just love big books. And it's another reason why my TBR shelf looks so bad. It's because it's so full of big books. They take up so much space. In this instance, it is considered a strength. And then for my weapon of choice, I chose the magic feather because I didn't know what to pick, and I have a feather tattoo, so why not? For the quests, if you want to read the quest descriptions, which are really funny, you can go to their Twitter page or the website. I will link both of them in the description so you can read that. I won't go over the quest descriptions, it'll take too long. I'm just gonna go through the books that I've decided to pick for this. There are a couple prompts that haven't been released yet. They're surprises, surprise boss battles. Love it. We'll see when those come out, if either I match them with books I've already picked or if I end up picking up new books. I first wrote them down on sticky notes and then I made a nicer list. So for quest one, was to read the shortest book on my TBR. And for that, I chose Twisted Tales by Jodorowsky and Book. These are all like one-page stories, not even a page. It's a blurb and then a picture that goes along with it, and that's one story. And it's got like 40 stories in here. So that's the shortest book. I mean, it's not the shortest. Yeah. So yeah, that fits prompt 1 or quest 1. And then the second quest is read the oldest book on your TBR. And that for me is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. It wasn't on my actual TBR shelf for the longest time because I had it tucked in with my classics on my regular bookshelf, but I recently reorganized and I took it off because I haven't actually read it. So, or I haven't finished it, so it doesn't really belong there. So I read a third of it when I did read it, but it was so long ago that I'll have to start from the beginning. But yeah, so that's quest 2. And then quest 3, a book about a group, a found family, family friends. Yes. I had a hard time with this one because I'm not really sure which books on my shelf would fit that. I'm not familiar enough with any of the plots to know that that would fit. I can think of some books that would fit, but I don't own any of them. So I had to limit myself to the ones that I already own. So I picked Pushing Ice by Alistair Reynolds. I started this book a couple months ago. I read almost half of it. And then I DNF'd it because there was an aspect of the plot that frustrated me a lot. So I decided just not to read it and move on to other things. But I think this is the closest to fitting that prompt because it is about this group of people. They all work together on this ship that mines ice, and they kind of get stuck together. And then for reasons related to the plot. Yes, no spoilers, but this one fits the best. I'm gonna give it another chance. I do want to know what happens, and like there are aspects of the book that were really interesting, and I want to know where that goes. And I think that I can get past that one plot point, that one aspect, these two characters that I dislike. I think I can get past it. We shall see. And then for quest 4, I keep wanting to say prompt. For quest 4, it's a book with an animal in it. And this is one where I doubled up. I chose Twisted Tales by Jodorowsky because it's got dogs in some of the tales. It's got dogs on the cover, so it fits. Yes. And then quest 5 is a book that intimidates you, or yes, an intimidating book. And for me, that is Foucault's Pendulum by Umberto Eco. There are a couple books on my shelf that are intimidating. This one intimidated me for the longest time because I read like the first couple pages when I first got it, and it didn't make any sense to me. So I felt kind of stupid reading it. So I put it down, and that was 3 years ago. But I picked it up again. I've actually been reading it. It's one of the books that I've started and gonna continue with this readathon. So I've been reading it the last week, and I'm liking it a lot. I definitely had to get through some hurdles, some parts where I didn't understand half the references that they were making. I did look up some stuff to try and make sense of things. I didn't look up everything because I felt like there were things that, even though I didn't get the reference, it wasn't taking away from the story. The things that I really needed to know, that I felt like I really needed to know, I looked up. I'm curious to see where this book goes. So yeah, quest 5, intimidating book. This one, definitely. And then quest 6, is a scary book, which is another book that I'm currently reading, and that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. It is amazing so far. I'm halfway through it, and it's so good. It's so good, and super creepy and dark. So that'll be quest 6. Quest 7 is a mini boss. So that was one of their mini boss prompts, which I loved. It was so funny. The prompt was based on your fatal flaw that you had chosen for your character, and mine was the buying books after making a ban on buying books. So because of that, I had to pick a book that I had bought after making an excuse for breaking that rule. So basically I said I wasn't going to buy any more books, and then I justified buying more books. So the book that I chose for this one, Baron and Luthien by Tolkien. And this book I bought because it was only $1. I got it at a discount store, and they had a bunch of books that were only $1 each. So I bought like 8 books because I figured it's only $1. There were a couple, I think just one, maybe 2, I haven't decided on the second one yet, that afterwards I decided I'm definitely not reading these. So I got rid of it after. But this is one of the books that I got that was only $1, and it was pretty awesome that I got this for only $1. That's usually the reason why I break a book buying ban, is because I find books that are really, really cheap. I'm really looking forward to reading this. That was quest 7, and now quest 8 was a free book space, so any book fits for that, so I'm just gonna skip over it. And then quest 9, a fantasy book, which I chose this book again for that because it's fantasy. And then quest 10, most expensive book on my TBR shelf, and that would be Rusalka by CJ Cherry. And this book is an Easton Press edition, signed Easton Press edition. I bought it from a used bookstore. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I believe it's about a Russian folk tale, or like a Rusalka is like some kind of Russian myth, folk, something. Anyway, I don't know much about it at all, but I'm really looking forward to reading it, and it's very pretty. It's a pretty book. The next quest, 11, was to read a book with a pretty cover, which there's so many books I could count. This book could count. I decided to go with Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. I loved 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this book. I did buy it not long after it came out, and I could have read it then, but I'm so bad at reading books when I first buy them. I think it actually fits the next prompt. 12. So 12, I was a little confused. So you can do a side quest, meaning there is a specific book that they put on that you could read called The Scapegracers. Really want to get through my TBR. So because that's the primary reason I want to do this readathon, I'm gonna try and focus on that rather than getting another new book. So it wasn't specific as to the type of book to fit for this quest 12, besides the side quest. On the Google Docs list it says magical book, so I don't know what that specifically means, but I decided to go with Once Upon a River because it seems magical. It just fit. I don't know. That's how I justified it. Quest 13 is a blue book or water themed book that I chose Foucault's Pendulum because it's a blue cover. I don't think it's really water themed, but that's okay. It's a blue book, so I'm gonna fit it there. Quest 14. I didn't pick one for Quest 14, and I think that's because I decided to wait and see what the other 2 prompts are for the surprise quests later. So Quest 14 is to read a book with a character you'll want to fight. And I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know. So I kind of want to see what books come up with the other prompts. Maybe I'll fit it in with that. There's one book that might work. I wasn't planning on reading it till January, but if it fits for one of these other 2 prompts that comes up, I might read it. I might put it on the list, actually. I don't know if I'll read it because this is a lot of books. Prompt 15 is a book recommended to me or bought for me, and that is another duplicate. That's Pushing Ice by Alistair Reynolds. It was recommended to me by a friend. They actually recommended a couple Alistair Reynolds books. When I looked through them, I decided to give Pushing Ice a shot. So that's another reason why I want to finish it, because it was recommended, so I want to see it out to the end. Yes, and then Quest 16, a book that I don't remember the details about, and I really could have picked almost any book on my TBR, because when I put a book on my shelf, it usually stays there for a while, and then I don't really read the summaries much before I pick them up again. I just kind of wing it. So could be any book, but I decided to go with the Essex Serpent, which I just recently rented from the library through my ebook app, and I don't remember at all what this book is about. I remember passing by it at the bookstore one day, thinking it had a cool cover, reading the back, being interested in it, interested enough to add it to my Goodreads, and then when I was scrolling through the library app, I saw it and was like, oh, I'll save that for later, see if it comes up and became available. So I checked it out, and that's it. I don't remember. It takes place in Essex. There's a serpent in it, but yeah, that's it. 17, Quest 17 is the mini boss battle that hasn't been revealed yet. It's a surprise, so we'll get that I think beginning of December. And then 18 is a free space, a breather, so I'll just skip over that. Quest 19 and 20 I picked the same books for. 19 is a book with a map, and then 20 is the oldest book by publication date on my TBR. And that would be Utopia by Thomas More. I debated getting rid of this book a while ago, but decided to keep it. I don't know if I don't know how I feel about having this on my TBR. But it's there. It's the oldest book. It does have a map. I was surprised. I thought, maybe, and it does. Let's see if I can find it. There is a map. At first I thought it was just an illustration, but it is described as a map in the little blurb at the bottom. So, yes. Quest 21 is a pre-order book, or it has a sequel coming out, or a library reservation. So for this, what I chose a duplicate, the Essex Serpent, and that's because I didn't have it on hold. I saved it to a list, and when it became available, I checked it out. So technically, I was looking for it at the library, waiting for it. I hadn't specifically reserved it, but tomato. So that's the book I chose for Quest 21. Quest 22 is a book with a shiny cover or magical object, and obviously I chose Rusalka because it is shiny and pretty. Then 23 is a free space, so skip over that. And then 24 is the final boss. The final boss battle at the end. And that one is a surprise. We don't know what the prompt will be for that yet. So once I know what those last 2 prompts will be, I'll be able to pick the last 3, because then I'll base that Quest 14 off of those 2 books. Yeah. That's a lot of books, and I'm definitely not going to finish them all in December, but I think it's nice to have something to motivate me to get through these books that I have physically on my TBR, because I definitely need that, because even going through all these, I think if I were to get through all these, I'd be able to fit the books on my floor on my shelf. And then if I don't buy any more, I'll be fine. But we know what my fatal flaw is. Those are all the books that I plan on reading for this readathon. Yes. No particular order. I already have a couple that I'm working on right now. And then I'm gonna, just when I finish them, I'm gonna limit myself to picking from this stack. So, yeah. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in the readathon, check out the links below to the channels and the website. And then if any of these books are standing out as ones you think I should prioritize, let me know. If there are any that you're like, don't do it, you think that it will sort of derail my readathon, let me know that too. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know which books I want to prioritize. I'm kind of looking forward to reading all of them, and that's how usually it goes. So thank you for watching. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I post next, hit the bell. Have a nice day. Bye.